Hi guys, so it is now part 4 of our contortion series with Pixie Le Knot, and today is all about handstands.
So today we're going to be showing you conditioning exercises that you need to do and various exercises you need to do before you learn to press into your handstand, either straddle pressing, tuck pressing or split pressing into your handstands.
So have fun, hope you like it and enjoy it.
So just start by stretching out your wrists, make sure they're really warm, do anything else you need to do to warm up before you do handstands. We're just going to do some conditioning for pressing up to your handstand. And sit in a comfortable straddle, and you're going to push down to lift your leg off the floor. If it's easy, reach further forwards by your ankle. If it's difficult, come up higher by your hips, and make sure you're pushing down to lift your leg up and not just lifting your leg up, so that you develop the strength to press to handstand. And we're going to do 10 on each side. If it gets easier, put your hands further out. Make sure you're not going onto your fingertips. Your hands are really flat and you're pushing down to lift your leg up. And you're going to do 2 at the same time. If it's easy, reach further forwards. And if it's difficult, stay close to you. Make sure you're not going onto your fingertips. And now you're going to push down to lift your bum and your legs off the floor. If you can just get your bum off the floor, that's fine. Make sure you're locking out your elbows from the beginning and you're not doing push-ups, so the strength's coming straight from your shoulders. Don't bend your elbows at all. If you're struggling with this, you could do this on a bench so that you've got some more space to lift your legs up. And now we're going to repeat everything in a pike position. And again, reach further forwards. If it's easy, stay close to you. If it's difficult, really push down to lift your leg up and don't go onto your fingertips. You're going to do 10 on each side. I'm going to do both together. And now you're going to push down to lift your bum off the floor, legs as well if you can. Make sure your hands are just behind your knees and not right back behind you, as that's way more difficult. And again, when you push down, make sure you've locked your elbows out from the beginning of the push, so you're not doing push-ups, you're just using strength straight from your shoulders. So with handstand fingers, you should be always really gripping the floor, and there should always be lots of movement in your knuckles. You should be able to get a finger underneath your knuckles, but the rest of your hand be flat on the floor, and always be moving to try and balance yourself. And if you stand on one leg, maybe stand on your worst balance leg, and you can see your toes move all the time, and that's why you need to do in your handstand too. Just practice your handstand position on the floor. So lie on your stomach with your chin on the mat so that you can see your hands. Flex your hands back, push your shoulders so that they're touching your ears. Make sure you can feel your shoulders on your ears, your chin's on the floor so you can see your hands. Squeeze your bum, squeeze your ankles together, spread your fingers out, and then look how wide apart your hands are, and that's how wide apart they should be in your handstand position. Try and remember where your head is as well, and how much of your hands you could actually see, and that's where your head should be in your handstand position as well. So look in the mirror, push your shoulders into your ears, make sure you've got no gaps between your shoulders and your ears. When you're doing a handstand, just squeeze your bum, your ankles together, and point your feet. You don't need to squeeze your core. And if you've got someone to spot you, practice your handstand shape. When you're spotting someone, make sure you're just tapping them gently side to side to help them find their balance. Don't hold them. So imagine you're balancing an object. So to press to handstand, you have to be really good at either tucking up or straddling up, whichever press you want to learn. So practicing these jumps is really, really important. So you could have someone spotting you, or you could do these against the wall. When you're doing them, really think about getting your bum up as high as you can. If you get your bum high enough, your legs will follow. If you think about getting your legs up first, then it won't happen. So really tuck your knees into your chest. Try and squeeze your knees together, feet together, and point your toes. And then with straddle up, start with your legs apart, stretch your knees, point your toes. So make sure your knees are straight as soon as you leave the floor. Don't bend them at all. So you bend to prepare to jump, and then as soon as they leave the floor, stretch your knees and point your toes. Again, really just think about getting your bum as high as you can. If you just hit the straddle and you can't get your legs together, that's fine. Same in the tuck. If you just hit the tuck position and go back down, that's fine. And you can practice your straddles against the wall. So really just try and hit your bum to the wall. You could film yourself to see how far away your bum is from the wall if you're really struggling. So when you've got the tuck ups or the straddle ups, you can then work on your presses, and if you put your feet on something higher, you can practice this, try it on your own at any height. You might be able to do it. If not, you can have someone spotting you. If you're spotting someone, push your knees into their shoulders. So make sure you're not jumping and you are just pushing. So there should be no momentum at all. You just push forwards, lean over your hands, and it might feel like you're going to fall. And as you get better in this, you can go lower and lower until you're on the floor. So just really lean forwards until your feet come off. Peel your feet off the floor. If you can't do it, it's fine. Just keep trying and trying to get that feeling. practice your handstand shape, the straight position, you should always walk back into the wall, don't kick up against the wall unless you know your shape is really straight anyway. So when you're practicing this, make sure only your toes are touching the wall, so the rest of your body isn't touching the wall at all, your chest is away from the wall. So once you've got it, you can try and get your toes away and balance it. Or you could just stay on the wall and use this as a conditioning exercise. It's a really, really good conditioning exercise to help you straighten your back out and get into the right alignment for a straight handstand. Headstand presses are also really useful to condition your handstand presses. So try these on the floor first. You could do them against the wall if you're worried about falling. When you're doing a headstand, put your hands on your head in a triangle position. So your head is in front of your hands, not on the same line as your hands. Use your handstand fingers again to balance, keep your elbows tucked in. Make sure there's an equal amount of weight on your hands as on your head. And just get your bum over your shoulders as much as you can, and then push on your hands until your feet leave the floor. Try not to arch your back. On the way down, really resist the last little bit so you develop that press strength. If this is easy, go higher and higher until your arms get straighter and straighter, and it should make it more difficult and feel more like pressing into a handstand. If it hurts your neck, you're probably not on the right part of your head, so move around a bit until you feel like you're not going to hurt your neck. So don't be too much on your forehead. If you're going over every time, you're probably too far back. You can do the same thing in a pike, which is going to be a bit more difficult if you've got the straddle. So make sure you walk your feet in close so that your bum's right over your shoulders before you push. Half straddle presses are a bit easier than straddle presses. They're a bit of a cheat, but if you can't do a straddle press yet, it's a good way to get into it. If you put your leg out as though it's in your straddle handstand, so it has to be right over your shoulders, so the weight is going down already. It helps if you have a good box split or a good straddle. So it really needs to be where it would be in your straddle handstand before you try and push. So for this, you're only lifting the weight of one leg, which is why it's easier than straddle pressing the two legs at the same time. So you can start as high as you want and get lower and lower. Make sure you're not jumping. So practicing your straddles against the wall, your straddle presses against the wall is another conditioning exercise. So you need a gap between your hands and the wall. If you really feel like it's impossible, try and come a little bit further away from the wall. So lean your back against the wall and then get your back and your bum to touch the wall and just push. Don't jump at all. Just get your back, everything, back of your head, back, bum touching the wall. Walk your feet as close to your hands as you can, and then try and really resist it on the way back down to build that strength to press to handstand. So if you have a good front split rather than box split or straddle, you could learn to front split press into your handstand, which is easier than straddle pressing. So really use your front split to drive the press. So the top leg drives the press over, and just lean forwards and keep splitting more and more and putting the top leg over until the other foot comes off the floor. Don't be tempted to kick or jump. You can start as high as you need to. Make sure your bum is right over the top of your shoulders before you push. If you try and do it and your bum's not over your shoulders, it's not going to happen.
So thank you so much for watching. I hope it was useful, and again, if you do have any comments, just message them in the comment section below or DM me on Instagram, and we'll see you next time. Bye!